What up, nerds? And welcome to another holly jolly episode of Straight Chilling, the weekly horror movie review show where you chill and we kill, slice, dice, and chop up yet another horror movie. My name is Bob. I'll be your host for the evening. This is episode 507, recorded Sunday, December 15th, 2024. Tonight we're talking about Terrifier 3. Before we get into it, let me introduce the fellas. First up, calling in from somewhere in Florida, I think. I'm not sure where you are, Randy, right now, actually. But Randy.
Not in Florida.
Where you at? Where you at, dog?
I'm in D.C.
Exact address. Oh, I thought you were traveling already. Okay, my bad. Calling in from D.C.
not yet. That'll be next week.
Tight.
But, yeah.
Last but not least, calling in from my immediate left over here, we got your boy Soju. What's up, man?
Ho, ho, ho. It's your boy, Holly Jolly Stains, back in Florida.
You fucked my mom, Santa Claus.
Yes.
Hell yes.
I did.
Unbelievable. Holly and Jolly Stains. Love to see it. Love to smell it. Love to touch it.
I'm sorry, what?
Hey, bud.
What is happening now?
Hey, bud.
Put your pants back on.
I never had them on to begin with.
Jesus Christ.
Boys, we're
This is gonna be a
rounding out the trilogy, Terrifier trilogy.
Thank God. Check this one off the list, boys.
Checking
Yeah,
our list.
Another franchise covered by Straight Chillin'.
Just
I'm pretty
knocking
sure
them
this
off.
one is in the bag for good.
Forever.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah. We'll never be coming back to this one.
Yep. It's not a revisitsums kind of show.
You can hold us to that, you know.
To be fair, though, the first Terrifier we covered on episode 168. So that was a long time. And then the
Yeah.
other two we just did back to
like
back.
back to back. Yeah.
So,
Damn, that was crazy long
Damn,
ago.
dude.
Yep.
We've been doing this a while. So yeah, we're talking Terrifier 3 tonight. Before we get into it, let's tackle a little bit of housekeeping real quick. Our January poll is currently posted over on our Patreon website. If you guys support us at the $5 level or above, you get the chance to vote on a movie we're talking about this January. The January poll's just shit that we missed in 2024. There's a ton of new releases we didn't get a chance to talk about. We got 6 of those on the poll for you to vote between. They are Azrael, Oddity, Eczema, Red Rooms, Strange Darling, and Heretic.
Robert,
I love.
give me those numbers now.
Oh, I'm going to give them to you.
I want you to tell me what those numbers are.
It makes me crack up that we pronounce. I know it's probably right, but pronouncing eczema as eczema. Like it's
Exuma.
just seems like an entirely different kind of movie to me.
Well, I
when you
think
say
in
it
Korean
verbally.
it's some totally different. It's like pamyo.
Just
something
nothing
that. Yeah,
even
nothing.
remotely.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Well,
where
I mean,
they
it
got
seems
that
like it should be
title from.
exuma,
Exuma,
based on what
yeah.
it's based on the root
Probably.
word. But I mean,
Yeah, I could be saying it
eczema
wrong.
is funnier.
I don't know. The movie Eczema, you know. Well, speaking of eczema, still sitting at a goose egg. Big old 0%, no votes.
Damn,
Next,
that's racist.
Yeah, sure. Next, you got Azrael sitting with 4% of the vote. I think that's really just like a single vote, finally. After that, we got Strange Darling sitting at 16% of the vote. Then we got a tie for second place between Red Rooms and Heretic, both at 20% of the vote. And Oddity still at the top of the list with 40% of the vote.
Whoa.
Speak English, Doc. We ain't scientists.
That's I really like the double wide extra movie format because it mixes things up so much. I feel like there's a lot of people making hard decisions on this list because there's I think a few of them on here that are like really well liked.
Yeah,
generally speaking.
Yeah,
definitely.
it does. I mean, but really, when you break it down, it's still really like a three-way kind of tie. Not tie,
It is
but
now.
like race, three-way race.
Yeah,
But and also like comes down to what people have seen too. So like I don't know, it adds a level of intrigue to me.
I
guess we've been doing the old format too long.
Yeah, I was having this conversation with Bob earlier. I'm surprised, just in general, not about this poll, but that Azrael has not gotten as much love just this year from the horror community, like any buzz.
It's been quiet.
Yeah, it's so
very.
surprising to me. I thought it would be on the oddity level. Like when I saw both these films,
Oh, really?
I thought that they would be comparable in buzz size. Yeah, I thought it would be around there.
The size of the buzz.
I just don't hear
The buzz.
anybody
Let's
really.
measure the diameter of this buzz here to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, it just seems like nobody's talking about that one, but I think it's a great one.
Yeah.
They just cheated us!
They cheated us.
Faux show. Get your votes in before the end of the month. We'll see what we're talking about this January. We are still dropping minicasts every other Friday. Next up, we're dropping a minicast on Friday, December 20th. And that's going to be A Quiet Place Day 1. Juice, this is yours, right? You were talking about this?
I did. So, wrapping up another franchise for the Straight Chillin' crew.
Permanently,
I mean, you
man.
know, check another one.
You found your dream power, man.
Man. But no, yeah, I cover that one. I feel like when we all covered 2, I was the most forgiving towards that. I feel like you guys were a lot harsher on that film in that review from what I remember. So I felt it appropriate that I tackle that one for a mini review. And yeah, I like that franchise pretty good. And this one I think is it's another PG-13 horror, and I think it serves its purpose in that realm. You know,
Right on.
so not the best thing I've ever seen, but solid.
I'll take your word for it.
Solid, yeah.
Check that out. Drop
Rob is not going to
Right.
test that theory for himself. Your
Oh,
recommendation
Bob.
means dick to me.
The man who's got Terrifier 3 VHSs can't take the time to watch a stream of it.
I have seen the movie, to
Oh,
be clear.
Okay.
Okay,
I have seen it. And I don't.
I
have
won't see it.
the Terrifier 3 VHS.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah. What else we got going on? So today we actually reopened the You Pick the Flick tier for the first quarter of 2025. Congratulations to everybody that did grab a pick. We got 5 lucky winners here. Congrats to Gabriel, Lou, Luke, Robert, and Vince for grabbing a You Pick the Flick.
Nicely done, gents and gentesses.
Thank you. Please send me some good films to watch.
Please.
Please.
The more you beg, the less likely it becomes.
Oh,
Just
I'm
let
not
it
begging.
wash over you.
I'm just being
Okay,
polite.
all right.
And firm.
Asking firmly.
The next time I ask, it won't be a question at all.
It'll be with my car.
Please. Send me good films.
It's the implication. And I think that's all we got for Patreon news. Nothing to plug for me. Do you guys have any plugs?
Just one more thing, one more shouts outs for Nicole, especially since it's the Christmas season. If you want a little bit of extra Christmas coverage before it hits next week, Nicole did just re-release the Creature Comforts episode we did together a couple years ago covering A Christmas Carol. And that is a discussion where we talk about the book, but also a lot of the different properties and similarities and differences, and just the kind of traditions of telling ghost stories that used to be going on back in England and stuff, and its connection to horror. And yeah, so if you want to check that out, head over to Light and Shadow Podcast and listen to the discussion Nicole and I had on A Christmas Carol.
Hell yeah.
Right on. Yeah, I have
Much
nothing
love.
fresh to
that's all I got.
plug myself. So
I actually forgot something. I do have a plug.
I don't have anything else, but
Oh,
actually,
come
yes, I have
on.
5 more things.
I'm a liar.
Excuse me, Mr. Man.
At the time of you listening to this show, we will have just dropped a brand new commentary over on Let's Get Physical Media. My co-host Mikey and myself had a couple friends sit in with us for this commentary of Jingle All the Way, the Christmas classic.
Whoa.
yeah, man.
Check it out.
But your wife's cookies are out of this world.
Put the cookie down now.
Who told you you can eat my cookies?
Precisely.
Yes.
Yeah, check it out. Let's Get Physical Media, everywhere you get your podcast. And that's officially it from me. I think our house is clean.
This house is clean.
Bump's already playing, so yes, it is clear.
Fantastic.
I don't care if you have more to say. We are done with that section.
Randy played me off the damn stage. Let's get into the main event. We're talking about Terrifier 3, and we're kicking it off with the back of the box.
What's on the back of the box?
The back of the box.
Bob, speaking of cookies, I think I was nibbling on your wife's cookies a little bit earlier today. Hello.
Put the cookie down.
You make it sound even dirtier than it sounds in the movie.
Get out of here, you nosy little pervert, or I'm going to slap you silly.
Ooh, slap me silly, Bob. Bob, I know you got this box because I can see it.
Right here, I got the box.
Oh, my lord. It looks black.
Randy, hide that
it looks
boner.
Not blue.
Wow.
It is
Whoa.
a 4K.
Oh, it's a 4K. That's why.
See?
Oh,
4K.
Black is this clown's soul, I'm sure. So dark and twisted, bro.
This movie's so fucked up, dog. You don't even
man,
know.
this is the darkest shit you ever seen. Look at the box.
You fucking weak ass can't handle it. You can't even handle it.
fucking posers.
But yeah, this is
Did
on
you guys
4K.
ever hear of a mean clown? Because that's what this movie is. Are you familiar with this concept?
No, what?
We're doing it. We're going breaking some
here
new
we
ground.
go.
This is on Blu-ray and 4K, and it's streaming everywhere now. So it's very easy to find. If you haven't seen Terrifier 3, you can definitely do so very easily. Yeah, so this movie came out in October this year, even though it is a Christmas movie, and it's getting re-released, I think, on Christmas Eve in the theaters. So if you want to see it in the theaters, you can also do that. But yeah, Terrifier 3, runtime of 2 hours and 5 minutes. It is unrated, as were the previous films. Written and directed by your boy Damien Leone, starring Lauren Lavera, David Howard Thornton. A bunch of cameos in this one too. Samantha Scafidi is back in this as well. But yeah, your boy Chris Jericho, Tom Savini makes a very small cameo. Daniel Roebuck is in here as well. Clint Howard has a cameo. Just a bunch.
What's up with this? What's up with this box? It looks like the first Terrifier. Like this.
It does not represent the Christmas.
Yeah, it does not represent Christmas at all on the front of this box.
That is like the defining element of this entry in the franchise.
Yeah, this is weird. And like if I saw this from a distance, I would just assume this was the first Terrifier film.
Yeah, I guess that's a fair
Nobody
point.
gives a fuck.
It does not
There
look
are-
like 3.
There are so the Blu-ray has different art than the 4K and from the Steelbook that's out there. They all have different art. The Blu-ray actually has him with his like Christmas tree glasses on.
Yeah,
Which would make a lot more sense, right?
make a lot more sense.
In the Steelbook, I think is just like a art. It's not Christmassy at all. I don't think it's just his face again.
terrible.
I'm genuinely shocked that they didn't already re-release Terrifier 2 and 3 with those the sunflower glasses and the Christmas tree glasses, and as a
That's for
bonus
next year,
throw in.
Randy.
Oh, you can get them.
We gotta keep the money train rolling, boys.
Oh God.
Ain't that the truth?
Hot Topic's got to have some new merchandise, boys.
Anyways, yeah, this movie's out there. Plot synopsis brought to you by IMDb is as follows. Art the Clown is set to unleash chaos on the unsuspecting residents of Miles County. Whoa! As they peacefully drift off to sleep on Christmas Eve. My computer freaked the fuck out for a second. That was weird.
It's the drones, Bob.
I know.
They're flying over the top of the house, Bob.
The Jersey drones are after us.
The Jersey drone.
Get to the closet.
Man, how far we've come since the Jersey Devil. Cryptids have gotten weirder and weirder.
They're all AI now, brother. We're fucked.
Even the cryptids are AI. God damn.
Oh God! AI Sasquatch is busting through my goddamn door with a Slim Jim.
Damn.
Folklorists are lazy as fuck these days. Am I right? AI Sasquatch. He's tonguing my butt digitally.
What? That's okay.
That's
Yeah.
what Sasquatch is known for.
Butt tonguing. You
Like
know.
nothing I'd ever smelled before in my life.
We all know.
That's what he's saying, I guess. It's
What
a
is happening to
reverse.
us?
Dirty bird.
That's what Bob's saying to the Sasquatch.
Yeah, ooh, you dirty bird.
Got a whole little dialogue going on here in Bumps.
that tongue's a fucking helicopter today. Woo.
Damn.
One day we'll be. This is our own version of AI. Is just holding whole conversations where the bumps are just conversing with each other instead of us.
Okay, we got a show to do. Okay,
Do we?
Terrifier 3, it's a brand new movie. We've all seen it. Boys, would you recommend folks check out Terrifier 3? Randy, why don't you kick us off?
I would recommend this on the caveat that it is a specifically Christmas. Like we've talked about this in years past. The Christmas setting, the Christmas set dressing, some symbolism, all that stuff, setting things and contextually like basing things in Christmas time is a boon to me for a horror movie. It helps me gloss over some of the gimmick works for me still. And there's a limit to that, I feel like, eventually. But I think that if you are likewise looking for something Christmas horror, you could do a whole hell of a lot worse than this, and it makes some of the edges sand down a little bit on my end anyway. So that's my qualified response.
Christmas Randy. He's at it again with a soft recommend, I guess. Juice, what about you?
No, I wouldn't recommend people check this out. And to kind of jump off Randy's comment there, because this specifically stuck out in my mind when I watched this. It reminded me of that character from Love Actually who goes in and he re-records his song. And he just changes the normal lyrics to a Christmas lyrics. He just puts Christmas in the song.
Bill Nye's
and
character?
Bill Nye.
Yeah.
It's not his song, it's the Kinks.
Well, and he talks shit about it the whole time about how people are just going to eat it, buy it up anyways because it's Christmas time, and I put Christmas in the word. See how ridiculous people are? They'll do, and he just talks. That's what
Sentimental hogwash.
That's what I felt about this movie when I watched it. I was like, what? It's Christmas. They'll love it. They'll buy it anyways because it's art, and he's into Christmas and they're going to do it. But no, I think that this is very very gimmicky and it's boring to me now at this point. So no, I wouldn't recommend it. This is not the franchise for me. Yeah.
Cynical.
We'll talk about it more, but like to me it's like it's definitely Christmas gimmick and it is that to some degree, but they could have easily skated by without that extra gimmick. Like it's only the third entry in this franchise that is ramping up in popularity, not down. So I think they could have released 3 like set in Halloween again.
Yeah,
and they could have done that another 8 times before they really started exploiting the extra boost that Christmas gives it. I don't think.
I only mentioned that because you mentioned it, and that's like once I was watching this movie, I really felt like that. It really reminded me of that Love Actually shtick, of like what it's Christmas, So
Bill Nye's the best part of that movie.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Sideline that in conversation, but yeah,
send an embarrassingly big car and I'll be there.
That guy rules.
But no, I would not recommend this. This franchise is going down hard for me.
Going down hard.
Tanking. Bob, would you recommend people check this out?
Probably a light recommend from me. I think if you're into the Terrifier thing, you know what you're getting, and you're probably going to be mostly satisfied with this. It's fine, I think. Yeah. I don't know. It's just fine for me, honestly. It's a light recommend, I think. And it sounds like kind of I guess across the board. It's not, a no from Juice, and then like, I don't know, a very light recommend, I guess, from the 3 of us. Very light.
Yeah. that tracks with what we've said about this franchise in the past, I think.
There you go.
A couple weeks ago.
When we talked about Terrifier 2.
Yeah.
Copy paste, except slap Christmas on it.
There you go.
Yeah. Holly jolly mess.
We are going to be spoiling the shit out of this movie as much as you can anyways. And here comes your warning.
Spoiler warning.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, Bob. You got a plot synopsis? Is anything happen in this film that's worth mentioning again?
I got it. I do have it typed up. It is significantly shorter than the Terrifier 2 plot synopsis. Way too much happens in that movie, and I think perhaps not quite enough happens in this one.
They cannot find the happy medium.
I think a lot of people do reflect upon this as being the happy medium, whereas Terrifier had essentially no plot. Terrifier 2 was like super bloated. This is somewhere in the middle. And I do think to sort of like defend this movie. I know I saw it with a bunch of folks at the theater, and several of them did walk out saying this was their favorite of the franchise. So it is fairly well liked, to be fair. But plot synopsis. Let's
see what we got here.
Let's get into it here. All right, after being beheaded by Sienna Shaw, Art the Clown's headless body decapitates a cop responding to the incident, and he makes its way over to the asylum where survivor Victoria Hayes, now possessed by the little pale girl, has just given birth to Art's own head. After reattaching his head to his body, Art and Victoria kill a nurse and a guard before entering an abandoned house and going into hibernation. We then jump 5 years later. Sienna is being released from a mental health care center, and she moves in with her Aunt Jess and her husband Greg, as well as their daughter Gabby, who very much looks up to Sienna. Sienna struggles with hallucinations and survivor's guilt. She also struggles to reconnect with her brother Jonathan, who is currently attending college. Art and Victoria awaken from their slumber when two demolition workers show up to the house. They're both quickly killed. Art then kills a Santa Claus at a bar and takes his suit. He then kills a family in their home with an axe. The next day, Art poses as a mall Santa and blows several people up, including a bunch of kids. Sienna sees him before the explosion, but isn't sure if he was a hallucination or not. Sienna visits Jonathan at university and meets his roommate Cole and his girlfriend Mia, who hosts a true crime podcast, which is man.
Have you heard of our podcast?
It's like a trope in
this is
movies
the thing
that
now.
just like fucking.
It is, yeah.
It really
It's
is.
a trope in life. Everyone we know
Everybody
is
has a fucking podcast.
Well, yeah, I guess that's fair.
Anyway, she really wants to interview them, and Sienna lashes out, confessing she thinks Art is still alive. She brings the letter Jonathan wrote her while she was in the hospital, which explains demons can possess people, specifically evil people like serial killers, and Victoria Hayes is now currently a host. The letter also says a counterpoint must be appointed to keep them from becoming too strong, and that is Sienna. And she also plans to return to the Terrifier and retrieve her sword, which she apparently buried there. Art arrives and...
I know writers who use subtext, and they're all cowards.
Whoa, Damien, is that you?
That's pretty funny. Art arrives and kills Mia and Cole with a chainsaw in the shower. Sienna sees a news story about the mall explosion, and she tells her family they aren't safe. Greg leaves to pick Jonathan up from college, and Sienna falls asleep. She dreams of her father and of what appear to be like demons crafting her armor. She then wakes up and goes downstairs to find Art and Victoria decorating Greg's corpse, his mangled-ass corpse. Sienna is bound to a chair, as is her Aunt Jess. Victoria shows them a skull and claims it belongs to Gabby. They then kill Jess by hammering a tube down her throat and putting rats down it. It's really gross. Art then brings Gabby in the room, which, proves that she's still alive. And Victoria now claims the skull belongs to her brother, Jonathan. Victoria tries to possess Sienna, but fails. Victoria tells Sienna to open her Christmas gift from Gabby, in which she has wrapped her sword. And she uses it to cut Art's throat and decapitate Victoria. Victoria's blood sort of melts the floor and creates a portal to hell, in which Gabby falls into it. Sienna tries to pull her up while fighting Art, but she does allow Gabby to fall into the pit and loses her sword as well. Art escapes through a window, gets on a bus, and then Sienna vows to find and rescue her little cousin, Gabby.
Come out to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs.
That's a great fucking bump, too. So there you go. The movie, it very much, even though it's like the third part in this trilogy, it very much feels like a middle movie to me. Like, it's now getting to the finale, which I think Leone has sort of not said definitively, but he thinks he probably needs 2 more movies to finish the story in his mind.
Oh my god!
Which feels like too much,
pulling too much weight in that sentence.
Yeah, another 4 hours to wrap up the Terrifier story feels like it's just too much, I think. But
man, we're gonna have to talk about that at length. Go on though.
So yeah, it feels like a middle movie to me. That it just wasn't very satisfying. I kind of, after seeing Terrifier 2, which I think is still my favorite of the trilogy, I thought the very bloated plot that they sort of had going through that movie it felt like a different take on a slasher movie, and I thought it could potentially be going somewhere very interesting. This movie doesn't really answer any of the questions that were set up in that movie. It sort of just mostly poses even more questions, and it makes me kind of lose some faith in the overall story that the tightness, like I don't know if it's fully fleshed out, if he's sort of shooting from the hip or whatever. I don't know. It just feels kind of like they didn't do much to progress the plot almost at all in this movie, and it's just kind of 2 hours with some blood and
What
guts.
do you mean? He wore a whole new pair of glasses.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of feels like that. Like, I mean, he killed people, but in a slightly different context. And like, I'm down with a slasher. Generally, I quite enjoy a good slasher. I just kind of wanted a little more out of this. I think, generally speaking.
Are we in the review segment already?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's the thing is I feel like the reason my feeling towards this franchise feels like it's souring is because I don't know, because I haven't gone back and listened, but when I think about the first Terrifier, I know the problems that it had, but it always like, yeah, this character's really interesting, and yeah, they're just kind of putting him in this setting, and it's all about the kind of kills that you're gonna get and how this character reacts to them. But the problem is we then had this 2.5 hour film that came out for 2, and they're trying to make it rich and all this lore and all this backstory, and these new characters are going to keep progressing and you're going to keep following them. And I wasn't really about that because it was quite silly, and it didn't seem to matter at all. And this just kind of confirms it for me, to where ultimately what it kind of feels like to me is this one trick pony, where it feels like the time you hear like a song on the radio and you think, hey, that's a new band, that's quite a good song, I'm gonna buy this CD, and then track number 2 is like pretty similar and you think like, okay, like I hope this, and then the album just falls flat because they can't write any other different songs. It's just they all sound.
It's a one-hit wonder.
It's a one-hit wonder. It really does.
This is the most millennial comparison possible.
Buy the CD. Buy the CD. Buy the cassette. No. But it really, like, he feels now to me like this one-trick pony, this one-hit wonder. And I was glad. Me and Bob had a slight conversation about this before the cast, just because we were hanging out today. I know, but I was really happy to hear him say the exact feeling that I felt of where I was watching this, and I was just bored with it. It's not shocking me. It's not interesting. It's really just kind of boring because it's now the same shit again and again.
The gimmick is a little stale,
and it's very stale. It's very stale.
I don't know. I'm very much like I agree with that feeling, generally speaking, but I keep talking myself out of it in my mind to some degree. Because it's like so many fucking franchises do this sort of, like, this is a slasher franchise. Of course it's fucking repetitive. If I ding this movie for that, I feel like, well, why am I not so hard on other franchises for that same sin? I will critique them for it, but I don't necessarily like see it as like makes it the whole franchise like one trick pony, all that stuff. Like, I don't know that I would levy the criticism the same level. And I'm trying I think about this movie and this franchise in general is not at all shy about going after children in particular. It's willing to do that, which is something that like people generally like are not accustomed to. It's like sort of the last holdout in terms of like popular decorum or whatever, and it crosses that line very heartily in each movie. And to me, it's like, I feel like that I don't love seeing that sort of thing, just generally speaking.
Yes,
but I really loved like Evil Dead Rise, and I praised it for that exact thing. So like, I don't know. I don't know if I can find a consistent thread that makes this movie's sins that I can point out that I'm like, I don't like this about it, I don't like this about it. Most of them are things that could be levied at movies that I like and things about movies that I like. And somehow it just doesn't work for this. And I think part of it is that it's not that it's repetitive, it's not that it's gimmicky, it's not that it's one trick pony or any of that stuff. It's just that it doesn't feel like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like it just doesn't land. You know what I mean? It feels too bloated in this one in particular, but it just doesn't. It feels mean spirited. It kind of has that hostile feel. It kind of like HOSTEL, I should say, that hostile feel.
Hostile.
It has that like torture porn. Like I get a similar feeling from this as I do from torture porn, in that it's all about the gore and kills, and like I can appreciate people that enjoy that sort of thing or whatever. It's not typically my bag on its own. And I think the gore effects in this movie and in a lot of these movies are good and like high quality effects. I just don't really like them where I like them in other movies. And I think it's because the movie feels meaner than like some of the gore effects you might see in even Friday the 13th and shit like that. Even these no-name red shirt characters getting killed off seems like a kinder way of doing business than trying and often failing to give us an emotional stake in children characters just to have them brutally murdered. You know what I mean? Like, it feels overly mean to my taste. And that's the only key difference I've been able to identify so far.
This installment definitely feels like more cold than I think part 2 did to me. Like there was
it's winter.
More laughs. Yeah, I know. There's more laughs in part 2, I think. This one does have some chuckles, like some funny moments too, like specifically Art just doing goofy shit in the midst of also doing really heinous shit. But it felt like colder, and I think his facial expressions were also just like very bleak, like very stoic in a lot of these scenes too. It does feel like more mean-spirited, I think, in a way that I don't necessarily love. And I appreciate the Christmas aesthetic too and everything, but I did find myself like just generally preferring the like killer clown being set on Halloween. It just makes like more sense, I guess.
Yeah.
And it feels less gimmicky. It is still a gimmick, but it feels less gimmicky, I guess, to have this like guy dressed up as a clown killing people on Halloween because he's in costume or whatever. There's like not a Christmas
because
clown.
it's not like at odds with the spirit of the holiday at all. It's
Yeah, but
no, I kind of agree, but like I think that I would come back and watch this one before I would watch any of the others because of the gimmick. I don't think I have any interest in ever revisiting the first 2 personally.
I don't think I'll ever rewatch this movie again.
Yeah, it would be. Trust me, it's still a pretty tall.
Yeah.
It's a pretty tall hill for me to climb to want to watch this again at all. But I think if I'm going back to any one of these, it's for the seasonality of it because they do that really, really, really hard, and they go hard in the Christmas aspect, and I give it credit for that for sure because I really like when you can find like fucking trimming the tree with the dad's entrails. Yeah. That's like just great horror comedy Christmas shit, like using Christmas symbology for horror comedy things. I like that sort of thing. That sort of like completely silly, like almost Flash animation, like edgelordy shit. I can get behind some of that to a certain extent. It's the like full on like brutality of some of it, especially towards like young kids or whatever, that I'm just like, this just
well, that's the thing about it is I think the few and very few, let me highlight, bright moments or somewhat clever ideas that this movie brings to the table actually somewhat make it worse for me because they highlight how much everything else is not special and how
for sure
and how I feel like he completely misses the mark on so much of this, and it kind of like for me kind of like pulls back the curtain a little bit because like for instance, one aspect where I was really intrigued about and I was hopeful for was when Art makes that like that weapon or whatever that freezes.
Yeah.
The nitrogen.
Yeah, because okay,
liquid
it's Christmas and you're gonna have Christmas themed kills, right? That's what we're gonna be doing here. You're everything, and even you're gonna be throwing people's entrails on a Christmas tree and stuff like that. It's like, okay, how are we? Why does it need to be set at Christmas? How is this going to separate itself in any way? And it was okay where he uses it to freeze the guy's leg. I thought it was underutilized. That specific weapon was underutilized. Really? But most of the kills, again, in the same scene, he pulls out the gun. He shoots the guy. One of the biggest main kills is just him pulling out the chainsaw. And, and it's in a shower setting. And it's just, there's nothing special about a majority of these kills. And so him bringing out this special kind of weapon that has some kind of themed, kill in some kind of way, it really just kind of like gets me excited, but then I dip further down into disappointment because we don't
so
ever
it's like
really
the
use
highlights,
those things.
The highlights get they dull the rest of the film.
Yeah.
A little bit. I could see that. I would disagree with some of that analysis. For me, like they spent way too much time setting up that goddamn nitrogen tank. This movie needs to be trimmed in many ways. Show me that he pulls out a thing that says liquid nitrogen on it. I got it. Done. We got it. We don't need to see him do it to the rat. We don't need to see him tinkering in a fucking workshop. Like there's things like that where I'm like, they're showing way too much. But just have it be a one-off. As quickly as he pulls out a gun, like obviously we don't need setup for a gun. Treat the fucking liquid nitrogen that way, and it becomes punchier. I think. I don't know, but and then I agree that I wish that the chainsaw kill. To me, that's a perfectly fine kill for the other two movies, but it's not thematic enough in this. It is on its own merits, entirely exercised from the rest of this movie. Really well, the effects are really good. It's really, really well done in terms of the effects. And I give a lot of credit to some of these effects. I think that they look for practical on a budget. Even still, this is somewhat on a budget.
It's the highlight of the movie for sure.
It's the best. Yeah.
Effects.
And that's what people come to this for. I can appreciate that. It's just, it's not enough for me. It
carries you so far, though.
I agree.
I mean, how many movies are we going to keep going back to and say, well, the effects were good? I mean,
I totally agree.
It's like, damn.
Are you kidding? That's better than a lot of slasher sequels do, though. I have to give it credit because so many, how many Friday the 13th sequels did we get where there's not a single kill worth mentioning? You know what I mean?
We shit on a lot of those movies too. I would shit all over Friday the 13th Part 3 equally. I mean, that movie's not good.
As an individual movie, but I mean, as a franchise, we don't necessarily, but it, we still praise it. I wouldn't praise this movie for, I can unilaterally say that this movie has pretty good fucking visual effects. I can't say that about some of these other slashers.
Okay, well, to be fair about that, then a lot of things that people highlight in about later types of slashers, especially Friday the 13th, which I think a lot of people honestly generally agree is a very middling type of franchise. Anyways, not a lot of people love the Friday the 13th franchises, anyways. But to go to that, a lot of times,
I think a lot of people do.
But what we do highlight is especially 6 and 7 is the kills. Okay, so I don't necessarily think the Terrifier kills are so amazing. There's a couple of them that are somewhat creative, but I think where their creativity leads to. So sometimes, especially a lot of the Friday the 13th lean into the gag aspect of how ridiculous these kills can get. Where I feel like y'all are talking about how cold this is. It's and again, I said this in part 2, so I'm not but it feels like that mall goth edgelord shit. Bro, how far can we push? Oh, dude, she's masturbating with some glass, bro. Isn't that so fucked up? And it's just,
I think this movie really solidified that as a guiding light for them. Because we talked about that in Terrifier 2, and there's definitely some moments where it kind of feels like that. But in this one, masturbating with a piece of fucking
glass,
a mirror shard.
Yeah,
is it's just too gross. It's it serves no purpose except to make.
It's gross. I just think it's fucking.
I think it's
dumb.
gross.
I think it's lame as shit.
It's gross, but not in a fun way. It's not. Yeah. It doesn't leave me feeling anything other than what you described, which is this. This feels like somebody trying to get an elicit a reaction out of me rather than me feeling a reaction natively.
I think there are some good kills in this. The glass masturbating isn't exactly awesome, but art ripping that dude's face in half in the attic, I think is pretty notable. The Santa kill scene was kind of middling to me. I didn't really love that. The Chris
it was
Jericho,
too long, but I kind of wish the whole movie was like that. Honestly, I wish. Yeah. Anyway, so that gets into lore stuff, but go ahead.
The Chris Jericho kill, I think that was really good. At the very beginning of the movie, they rip his jaw off, basically. That stuck out. The shower scene is probably the most notable, where the dude gets chainsawed in the ass and then right in his fucking dick and balls. And his dick.
Yeah, that was a playing the hits moment too, but it they made it look convincing enough to where I was I'm I'm satisfied enough with the craft quality here that the not creative quality of this same kill from the first movie isn't gonna ding so bad.
The one that actually like did kind of gross me out was the rat tube kill with the ant at the end of the movie. That did actually, I thought that was pretty fucking gross. But the rest of them were, some highlights anyways.
One thing
but
they
I appreciate
do with it is they gotta make it as brutal as possible, but they always leave the person like kind of alive. They did that too in Terrifier 2, where that really brutal kill with the girl in her bedroom, and her mom comes in, and even though her half her face has been peeled off and all this shit, she's like still like kind of gurgling and every time they do that, I think the Santa is still do it a couple times.
They do it in the most notable time they do it in part 3 is the podcast girl talking about wanting to look into Art the Clown's eyes, and he like mangles her in the shower, but she's still alive, and he takes his sunglasses off and looks into her eyes. That's maybe the best like moment in the movie.
Honestly, because it actually feels like
it's a setup
kind
payoff.
of set up and pays off. It's kind of saying something, where we've talked about other slashers. Brandy was saying like, why don't we ding these other slashers? But I mean, even if you're like, okay, looking at screams, well, every scream kind of says something or does something, I mean, just I don't know, it just feels like this movie wants to. I think sometimes, especially when he's building out this kind of fantasy world, which I think is I don't like it at all. It's not interesting to me. I think it's quite silly. But like he's trying, and like I think when he's trying to make it richer, I think that's why I feel like it's a one-trick pony, because I think all those elements are bad. I think the acting, the dialogue, and the fantasy aspect, I think they're all very lame or bad. And so when people try to defend this film like, oh, the effects are good, I'm like, okay, but he literally can't do anything else well, in my opinion.
The thing is, like, I'm not a filmmaker, so I'm not a skilled enough filmmaker to really identify what the problem is. But I'm telling you, like, Terrifier 1, I will absolutely complain about that having like no real stakes. It seems like, and there's no emotional through line. It's clear, or no like big central core to the thing. It's just experiencing a series of kills. These two movies and the ongoing franchise apparently is trying to do that, and I agree. Like, I agree that I don't think that they work at all, and it drags the movies down. These two movies have been dragged down by that. But I also kind of admire that he's trying to correct these things. And also I admire the attempt at an ongoing thread of stories in a slasher franchise where that is typically not done well at all. And things just get retconned to shit every movie. Like, I appreciate that that's an attempt, even if I don't think it's strong enough. It's like if they took like a Friday the 13th, what is the one with the clairvoyant girl? That's part 7 or something. Yeah. So, like, it's like if they did, like, 5 movies around, like, clairvoyance and Friday the 13th or whatever, where they made, like, the same characters, they made the through line, they had a Tommy Jarvis type or whatever that you follow.
Bobby Jarvis.
You go all the way through.
My boy Bob Jar.
That's me.
It's like if they did that, like, that still wouldn't be, like, that would be admirable because it's like, okay, they're paying attention to the broader schema of the world and they're not retconning things. They're not just, like throwing money down and saying, just make another one. I don't give a shit. They're really trying. It just isn't a good enough concept, and it's not performed well enough or done well enough for it to be that much better. Like,
I generally agree with Randy on this. I think it's an admirable attempt to try something new. It's just not really panning out in the best way. And I appreciate that he's trying something new, because we've got 1.5 million slasher movies already. But there was like some of the lore that they tried to add to this, which didn't really. It feels like he's not really playing by his own rules about like demons possessing specifically evil people, specifically serial killers, which doesn't make any sense. Victoria was just like a normal girl.
Right.
She's not a serial killer. I'm assuming if the pale girl like was real and not just a figment of Art's imagination or not just a demon, like that little girl was obviously not a serial killer. Them trying to possess Sienna, she's not a serial killer. Like, so it doesn't really make much sense. And like I get like the flashback of like her and her dad, like I was totally fine with that. Like him showing her the drawing and
Not
stuff.
Yeah,
it didn't bother me. I thought it was fine. And like her like dreaming of like these demons forging her armor in hell. And I'm assuming in the next movie, like we're gonna actually have at least some of the movie set in hell. Like that could be something different, and it could be cool. I don't know that I
would be interested to see it happen, but I also think that this is the thing is I'm of two minds about so much of this movie, and that's one of the things, like all the lore or whatever, I think is the fact that it's turned very, very deeply comic book so quickly. Like it's they had no core in the first movie, and and by the second one they stuffed in like a horror, like a silly horror comic core with like superhero logic and shit.
A chosen one. Like, she literally says, like I'm the chosen one or something.
Superpowers,
like,
the chosen one. All the shit, they're like the tropiest, most overdone shit in the world is what they center the things around. Yeah, exactly. They center everything around the most tropey shit imaginable, and it's like, yes, okay, you gave it a core, but it's not compelling and it's not interesting on its own. So it still kind of it's not that additive to things for me ultimately. And like the dad stuff like is kind of core to that. I understand they're trying to add an emotional thing there. It just isn't working, and I don't the fact I thought that she just dressing up like on Halloween, and it just so happened that she's a warrior angel or whatever, and she also has to do this insane thing. But she literally is a chosen one who is literally an angel to offset demons, and it's just fucking it's just silly. It's just fucking silly, and it doesn't really work. The only way that it works is if they do wackadoo shit like go to hell or something. And I don't even know if it works then. It's
Art
at
goes
least
to
just
hell.
An interesting gimmick to rely on, like the Christmas thing, to give it a little bit of body. Like
it might make for an interesting movie. I guess we'll find out. We've been complaining a lot about this movie, but I do want to highlight the best part of the movie, which is again David Howard Thornton playing Art the Clown. I think he's absolutely great in this movie, as he is in all three of the movies. And like him, like when he's on screen, the movie is at its best, and when he's not on screen, like I do find myself just like kind of bored with the plot of like Sienna like getting to know her cousin who she's missed out the past 5 years of her life, and like her trying like reading her diary and her trying to be like, no, none of that's real, I was just sick and in a mental institute, like all this like drama. So, like it doesn't matter, they're all red shirts anyways at the end of the day.
It's like a Vampire Diaries fucking storyline in the middle of this all of a sudden.
I was trying to say something nice, and then I started bitching again. Art the Clown.
That's how it works with this podcast.
Absolutely killing it in this movie. So many little moments of Art the Clown that made me laugh, or I thought was just actually chilling. Like him after like that fucking brutal shower scene, he like pulls the kid's leg off and then like smells his foot and like throws it away because it smells stinky, or like just ridiculous shit like that. When he's eavesdropping on Mia and Cole's conversation, and Mia's like, yes, I mean, I don't want to fuck him or anything, and like he kind of freaks out in the hallway.
I was saying that I was gonna say that was the best Art moment for me. There's these little glimpses of moments where it's like, yeah, you get it, what makes this good or special.
Really?
And you can't. Him listening in and her being like, yeah, I wouldn't fuck him, and him being like, oh, what the fuck? It's like, well, I mean, that
was funny enough
aspect. Yeah, I mean, I didn't find a lot of this film funny, but that was like I said, the freezing thing of like, oh yeah, you're going to use Christmas kills, but then he just puts a bomb and blows a bunch of kids. It's like,
well, a parcel bomb. I thought that worked.
Yeah, that scene was like just boring. That was boring.
Yeah, I
could have really cut that entire thing though. Yeah,
I agree.
Story wise,
the beginning of the movie after he like kills that whole family, and then he sits down and eats the cookies with his bloody hands, and then does his fucking dishes. Like little moments like that, I love. Him getting his new suit when they're on the subway, and the dude walks in and sits down. And he's like, "Hey, I love your fucking costume," and then he just like smiles. I thought that whole sequence worked really well. Him actually like putting on the Santa suit and like pulling the dude's beard off and wearing it, I thought that was a great touch.
That was solid.
If you're gonna make a Christmas slasher movie, like I thought that was really smart. Him like constantly slapping Sienna on the back of the head when she's like tied up. Again, I thought that was a great moment. Him trimming the tree, Randy, you already mentioned
funny,
that.
yeah.
Like, there's some really great moments with Art the Clown in this movie, and I think David Howard Thornton was just like born to play this role and is definitely the highlight. He is the most consistent thing of all three of these movies.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I have a limit on how much of that I enjoy. That and it's been pushed by these last two movies specifically because of the runtime of things. The runtime and the lore heaviness of things really even a great performance like that is not going to sustain all that stuff. And I don't even love every aspect like that, like her not wanting to fuck him, saying that's kind of funny or whatever, but it's not my favorite part. Like my favorite scene in this movie is the Santa scene, even though I like story wise it doesn't need to be there really, not at the length it's at anyway. But like it just feels more like, I don't know, it feels like the right tone for a Christmas horror. It strikes like a Santa sleigh level rather than a Hostel level, which is like what I prefer. So I don't know.
I like a lot of moments in that scene, but overall,
there's a lot of little moments in this these franchises, in particular this movie that work for me. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Art like sitting on Santa's lap and then just pissing on him. Like I thought that was
pissing
funny.
On Santa is really funny.
And I do like the cameos in there are like they're cool enough, but there's so many that it starts to it feels like another gimmick, I guess.
Wait, who is Chris Jericho in this film?
The orderly.
He's the orderly at the beginning. He was in the second one too.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
And then Tom Savini. Yeah, like I think that they draw a lot of attention. It's like Smash Brothers. They're just cramming them all in there.
One thing that I will praise it for that I thought was pretty consistent throughout the movie. There was a couple times where it veered off, but the thing that I liked the most was I thought it looked good.
Yeah, totally.
And what I'm not talking about practical effects. I'm talking about, especially for the Christmas aspect, the Christmas scenes like reminded me of how much we praised Black Christmas.
Yeah.
That look, that kind of classic vintage look with the types of lights that are used, and it's more warm.
The way the glow works.
Yeah, the way the glow works. I thought that it looked great in all the Christmas settings.
I agree, yeah.
That was the strongest aspect for me.
Yeah.
I can agree with that. Like, and when I sorry, Rob.
I was just agreeing. And this movie does also like pay direct homage to several other movies, but Black Christmas
it was too referential.
Yeah, it is. It
Christmas
is
Evil.
Yeah. Well, the attic.
I don't
scene
remember the direct references. The attic scene, I remember that.
The Black Christmas.
I clocked that one.
Rocker. Yeah, that is like very, very
the Christmas Evil.
He was driving the van. That's like he's driving the big white van or whatever. And then there was and even honestly, kind of I think the scene is very much like Christmas Evil with the Santa comes down because he's like a dad or whatever, and with the mom. The opening scene is very similar to the opening of Christmas Evil.
I think he said that was it is very similar. I agree with you, but I think he said that is a direct reference to that Tales from the Crypt episode.
Okay.
It is exactly like the beginning of this movie. And there was a Shining reference with the axe, and like I mean him
Shining
being a killer Santa with an axe is another reference to Silent Night, Deadly Night for sure. There's a bunch of them, and it does feel like maybe a few too many, but
I thought it was too. I mean the Shining one like that because that was from the very beginning. That was in the opening scene. And I was like, uh-oh. And then they did, and it kept going, and it felt like almost every time they did it, it paused a little too long to be like, right, you get this, right? These are all the Christmas horror movies, right? I know Christmas horror movies. I don't know.
It does look great, though. I agree with you.
I'll tell you, Harry, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
This was shot on anamorphic lenses, whereas the other two were not. And I think he did have comparatively a much larger budget on this. I think Terrifier 2 was $250,000. This was $2 million. So he was able to focus more on the directing, and he actually hired a crew to do the practical effects, whereas in the other movies he did 100% of the practical effects himself. So
I think they work, man. Like, I don't know. Like that's the thing is like Art the Clown. He works as a fun character to watch. The kills, whether they're creative or not, are well performed and shown. It's really, those are the highlights of this film for me. Those two things, and everything else is at best like forgettable, and at worst dragging it down quite a bit.
Yeah. The coolest thing about this movie to me is just the fact that it is an unrated, totally independent horror movie getting released in theaters and doing exceptionally well. This movie, so like to talk about the experience of seeing this movie, went to the theater to watch it, and it was it wasn't even a Friday or Saturday. I think we went on a Thursday, and it was a sold out theater. And it wasn't even like opening weekend. It was like a week after it came out, I think. And sold out. And there were all these people with like Terrifier shirts on. There was someone in the crowd actually dressed up like Art the Clown. People were like outside taking pictures, standing in front of the poster on the wall and everything. Like it felt like an event. Oh my God, I can't wait! It felt like a major franchise movie came out, and it's like this little indie movie. And it was just like a really... The vibe of it was really cool and exciting, and I'm glad people are digging it, and I'm glad that it's finding success, and that it's this like little indie horror franchise that could. I think that's by far the coolest thing about this, and I'll keep rooting for him even if I don't love him. But I think it's generally a positive thing. Yeah,
I agree, and like to build on that, like when I think I mentioned this already, but when I went to like the Halloween event at King's Dominion, there's a lot of children that know about this and dress as Art the Clown for Halloween and all that stuff. I'm not sure exactly how I feel about that, but I also think about like, that's how it was with Scream too. People our age when Scream came out were running around in Ghostface masks. You know what I mean? And like while those movies are comparatively less brutal at the time, they were considered very, very brutal. They were slasher films, and we were kids. So like, I don't know. Again, I'm at conflict with myself a little bit. Generally, though, like culturally, I'm glad that a movie like this can stick. And I think that even though Hollywood is going to continue learning all the wrong lessons from every success that happens, this is like, it should be fertile ground for them to be like, oh, okay. So what we need is people who love film and love this genre or whatever to come in and make something the way they want to make it. And then maybe it catches fire, maybe it doesn't. Instead of trying to force it to catch fire the way they're like by funneling endless amounts of money into like Red One or some shit like that. Yeah. Like all these terrible, terrible fucking flops that keep happening on the big budget. Like it just shows that the studios don't really know what anybody want, but they continue to try and replicate what they think people want and throw like fucking entire country GDPs at these films, trying to make them work, and they'll never learn the right lessons, which is just let creative people be creative and do their shit. Yeah. And just when it happens, it happens. You cannot predict. You cannot.
Yeah, I agree generally. And this is officially the highest grossing unrated movie to be released of all time. So, pretty big feather in the cap there for Damien Leone. Mm-hmm. There was like one other thing I did want to mention real quick, just like about the plot of this movie that I found kind of confusing. Maybe it's like maybe they're setting it up for the next movie. I don't know. Her brother Jonathan is like almost like a footnote in this movie. He's not a particularly like amazing actor, not to be too mean. But I don't know if like he just didn't want to be in the movie, or if like I don't know. And they like allegedly kill him off screen, and like I don't feel even
like it's not him,
right? Like it's some sort of setup or something. But it just feels like he was barely in this at all. And
I call bullshit on that.
To set him up to be in the next one feels weird. I don't know. It just
I think they're gonna set him up to be the next like Avatar, the way that Vicky was, or whatever, or something like that. I think that's probably what's going to happen.
I don't bless this dude. I just don't know if he has the chops or something like that.
This dude. The thing is I don't care.
Yeah, I don't necessarily care
That's
either.
the thing is like anything.
I don't mind if he does because it doesn't matter to me.
Well, yeah, that's the thing about anything about setting up and it's gonna be. I just, especially going off the second one where I was like, okay, they set up a lot of things, and I didn't really care then, except for the fact of where are they trying to lead this, and then when you get this movie where it just feels so bloated and meandering, and again like a one-trick pony, that I felt like it doesn't matter because he gets his head cut off and he gets burnt again. A lightning storm comes, or it just doesn't matter, and that's why trying to it seems a little ridiculous to invest so much into a story that's so silly when you yourself project it as not mattering anyway.
Yeah, it feels like
I agree with that. Like, it feels like they're really trying to create a core, but ultimately the beats of this thing are still going to match. They're going to somewhat match other slasher movies like Friday the 13th, where like, okay, this time it's lightning that's reviving. Okay, this time it's like they just try and work it into a lore, and it just becomes this bloated, overcomplicated, lost level mess that we don't need to get what people are going to this theater to see, which is stuff that is shockingly brutal. That's what this movie is sold on. That and the comedy of Art the Clown.
And it does
so like
deliver on
it's
that.
So it's like, be careful what you wish for sort of thing, where I'm like, yeah, in the first one I was like, give me something to hang my hat on, and now it's like, take this fucking coat rack away. I don't need this many hangers.
You're surrounded by hats, Randy.
Surrounded by hats. It's a living nightmare.
Something else that we like kind of touched on but didn't get too much into is Victoria Hayes, not in the sequel, Terrifier 2, really at all, and then is a major player in this one. The Pale Girl, I guess, now possessed her, so the Pale Girl's not in this anymore, which when I was like halfway through watching this movie, I was like, where the fuck is the Pale Girl? Like, what is happening? Possessed a different person now, and she sort of operates as like Art's mouthpiece, which I guess is like a decent workaround for a character that is nonverbal and doesn't speak. So like we get some kind of clue as to what's happening and why it's happening. I don't necessarily like love that character, and I guess she's dead now anyways, so I guess that's it. But I don't know. I just didn't necessarily love the character, I guess, generally speaking. I prefer Art to just kind of be Art on his own.
I said I said that in the first, or no, I said this in the last review of Terrifier 2, where when I was criticizing some of the look of that film, where we were saying, oh, the practical effects, they look so good. I was saying like, ooh, when they did her makeup, it was one of the worst looking things to me in Terrifier 2. And in this one, I was very disappointed to have her as a major character, because I still don't think it looks that good. It looks the most janky to me. And I also don't really care about that character, and I was the strongest one supporting. I know Bob did too, but I liked the Pale Girl in the second one, and having her replaced by Victoria was a huge downgrade for me.
Yeah, I would prefer the Pale Girl.
I don't think I have a strong preference. To me, they kind of function so similarly, and it just doesn't impact my enjoyment of it, because that, I don't know. I don't think that her makeup looks that bad personally. Like, it doesn't bother me at all. But like, it's the role of having an extra person involved. It feels like just another layer of bloat to create more threads for them to thoroughly and time-consumingly exploit for like 3 more movies. Like, that's what it feels like.
Yeah,
is just like, it's just alleyways to go down before you get to the final endpoint, which is going to be like, I can't imagine this going anywhere that makes all of these side journeys worth it. Like, at that point, it functionally is the same as just watching a marathon of Nightmare on Elm Street movies or whatever, where the lore changes every movie. You know, like, functionally, it's no different. The thing you're there for is the same, and the frustrations are just like slightly different versions of those frustrations. And one, it's like, there's too much of this, and the other, it's like, Jesus Christ, can they be consistent? Like,
it turns out he really is making a perfect slasher franchise.
Oh my
All
god.
the same problems.
There was one more weird thing to me, and this like really stood out as being strange. I thought it was strange, and I was trying to think back to the first Terrifier film. But as gory as this guy likes to be, and as far as he's pushing the boundaries and putting rats inside this mom who's still alive and blowing up kids with a bomb, one thing that was really weird was that he shot this specific shower scene, and it's presented front and center so much, but he never shows that woman naked specifically. He chops up a dong straight up, but he shoots a sex scene in the shower and specifically makes it as brutal and sexual as possible and doesn't show the woman naked.
I think that was obviously a choice because he wrote, directed, and edited the thing. So he made all the choices.
Yeah.
But I think it was sort of a direct reaction to criticism about the bisection of the naked woman in the first movie.
See, that seems silly to me. So the guy who's going to push the limits, who's going to be like, I don't care I'm going to kill kids and I'm going to do all these things. And he's censoring himself because people bitched about the first movie. That seemed like such a cop out.
I don't think he's censoring himself. I think I just don't think, I don't know. Like I don't have any particular need to go and to show the yabos or whatever. Like I feel like it's not.
Thanks
I don't
for being
think that
respectful,
it's,
Randy. I appreciate that.
It just doesn't really matter ultimately, because and like I don't know.
I agree. I just thought
it's
it was
not like a huge
choice.
sacrifice. It's a little weird. I thought it was like. I think it's. If I could put a spin on what Rob said, I don't know if it's a reaction of like, people didn't like when I did this to a woman, so I got to do it to a man. It's more like, well, fuck them. They don't like it. They gave me shit for doing it to a woman. Now I'll do it to a man, and they can shut the fuck up forever about it. Like you could put that spin on it.
That's probably
too.
more accurate. Yeah.
It felt more like, oh, dude, he's putting the chains all up his ass, bro. Oh, dude, look at the dong.
I'll be honest.
Like, it's just
when I saw the dick and balls flopping around, I was like, holy fucking shit. I mean,
he
that's
went a half star right there. Whoa, he just got me a half star. That's what Bob's thinking.
Attaboy, Damien. Attaboy.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, I don't know. I don't have any other major things I want to touch on. Anything you guys want to hit before we rate this thing?
No.
That
was the last weird thing I wanted to point out.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and do it out of 5. Juice, why don't you kick us off? How do you feel about Terrifier 3?
Not good, Bob. Not good. Just to kind of summarize, a lot of the things that... Okay, so the things that I liked. I'll start with the positives. I like the look of the Christmas aesthetic. I thought it was shot and I thought it was shot well and it looked good. And I like some of the things we mentioned. Again, there are pieces there that are strong. The taking of the beard. Sometimes when he switches from the goofy look to the serious look, he's got a very menacing look when they're not going too over the top. When they really bring it down real quick and he's looks at you really intensely, that's great stuff. And then some of the kills I thought were somewhat creative. But for the most part, there's way too many negatives. So again, some of my negatives are I don't like Victoria. I just don't like her as a character. I don't think she looks particularly good, and I hope that character's done if I ever have to review any more of these films. I think too many of the kills were not interesting and not themed in a Christmas kind of way, which seems like a huge oversight. It doesn't seem that hard to come up with some gimmicky type of kills. We saw Thanksgiving come out last year and kind of really nailed that. And I think this one falls really flat on the Christmas aspect of the kills. for the most part. I feel like there's too much of that edgelord shit going on. It feels like a one-trick pony. It feels like that's all he's got to hang his hat on. It should like, how far can I push it, bro? I'm gonna stick a chainsaw up his ass. It's like, yeah, but you're not even shooting yabos over here. Not that I need them. It feels conflicting.
He skinned his ass raw.
God. Yeah, it's too long again. It's 2 hours. The acting's not good. The dialogue's not good. We have these info dumps. You sent me these letters and it's a demon. It's like, oh God, this is so lazy and bad. It's so lazy and bad. And even the Jonathan, I thought that was a cop out to kill him off screen and to put the skull in and maybe it has some function, but the sword, why would she wrap the sword?
I don't know why she wrapped it. I don't know why she buried it and left it at the Terrifier.
None of that makes a lick of sense. And also too, it's laughable to think that he's going to go through all of that effort to what build suspense. Is she gonna open the sword? Is she gonna slay them?
Why would they let her open the present?
I don't give a shit. I don't fucking. She could have wrapped it. She could have pulled it from under the tree. She could have pulled it out of her ass. It doesn't matter because it's silly to this lore, this fantasy lore. It's so silly. I find most of this film quite lame and boring, and just I'm losing patience with this franchise, and I don't quite have the endearing aspect that you guys have about the success and everything, because I'm like, at the end of the day, I don't think it's very good art. Not just that, like, I don't agree with it. It's just, I do think it's a par. And to see, even if somebody made it on their own, to see so many people, like, for this such, like, subpar art to be the highest grossing unrated film of all time is, like, not that much of an achievement for me, because I'm like, oh, it's not that good. Well, it doesn't deserve that title, in my opinion.
It does help potentially open up the door for other indie artists to get their movies in.
It could also open the door for edgelord bullshit to just try to push it as far as we can, bro.
See, that's what I
like.
It's also fair.
It's really more an industry issue. That, like,
sure.
if the industry is going to take anything from it, it's going to be, well, people love killer clowns.
Sure.
We got to fill the theaters up with killer fucking brutal clowns that murder kids, and that's what wins.
Yeah.
Right. What I would say is, like, I don't hold that endearing aspect as much. So this is going to be my low. I think this is my least favorite that I've seen, and it could just because now I'm just tired of it. If I saw this one first, maybe it would be different. But at this point, it's just so boring to me. I wasn't shocked. I wasn't excited. There was no tension. There was no fear. I mostly was just bored, to be honest. I'm going to give this a 1.5 for the look, and again, for most of the acting from Art the Clown, and for a handful of interesting ideas and kills. But this one falls very short for me.
1.5 from your boy Juice.
Yes, sir. Bob, who's up next? Bob, out of 5, what are you going to rate this one?
I don't know. I keep changing my mind on this one, but just to summarize, I guess my general thoughts and feelings. Art is incredible in this. I think David Howard Thornton really is just the bright shining star of this whole franchise. Big fan of what he's doing here. The kills generally do work. Some of them are a little too long, and I do think, Damien Leone, I think he is a fine editor. I think he probably needs someone else to edit his movies. I think he's a little too precious. The shower scene sticks out for sure. That dude getting his ass and balls hacked into, pretty fucking memorable. I'll never forget that. The attic kill, I think, was all right. The rat tube kill was really one of the nastiest kills I think I've probably ever seen. Chris Jericho kill was solid. The look, this movie looks beautiful. It looks great. I think he totally achieved the old school filmic vibe of those classic Santa slasher movies like Silent Deadly Night and Black Christmas. I think he fucking nailed that. Christmas vibes are here. Maybe he could have been more creative with the kills, to your point, Juice, but I think the vibes are definitely there with the Santa suit and the beard and the Christmas lights and the mall decked out and the house is decked out, the Christmas party, the goofy glasses, whether you like those or not, with the Christmas trees. Like, I think he got a lot out of the seasonal charm, I guess. It has, like, too many cameos, but they're kind of fun, I guess. That's okay. But it doesn't progress the plot hardly at all, and whatever it does add to the lore is confusing and boring, and the acting is pretty dodgy, and anytime Art's not on screen, I find myself kind of twiddling my thumbs and just waiting for him to come back. I don't love Victoria in this. She's fine. I guess I don't necessarily like hate her in this, but I just kind of want Art to do the Art thing. The true crime podcast is just like, I don't know, man. Anytime there's like a podcaster on screen, I kind of cringe. I'm like, fucking, we get it. Podcasting is popular. You don't have to put a fucking podcaster in every damn movie. Like, you just don't need it.
Unless it's a straight chilling crew, then you do need it.
Put them in every fucking movie.
Need them in there.
This Terrifier franchise is pretty good. I think
I really
had a change of heart recently.
Can you imagine what it'd be like to feel Art the Clown breathing on your face?
Just getting
Wouldn't
up
that
in
be
them
crazy? Man,
Art goes to Korea.
I would hate if that happened
That sounds
to
like
me
a damn good
on
idea
film.
to Soju.
On second thought, this is a perfect movie. 5 stars.
Oh, wait, Bob, go ahead and erase that 1 and just go ahead and change this to a 5.
5 stars. Overall, like, it's got its fun moments, and it's not something that, like, I mind watching necessarily. It's just not reaching, I don't think, anywhere near its full potential, honestly, and I don't really think the rest of this franchise is going to get better. I think it's just going to be kind of more of the same and probably be, like, just a little boring to me, honestly. It does feel kind of like the gimmick of Art being nasty is kind of worn off, and I was hoping for more, didn't quite get it. Feels like a middle movie that's 2 hours long and it needs to be an hour and a half. It's just I don't know. I keep going back and forth on like where I want to rate this. I think I'm just gonna give it like a 2.75. Yeah, an odd, weird score. Not my favorite of the franchise.
Generous,
but not horrible. Randeezy, how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, you guys raised a lot of the points that we talked about that I generally agree with. I don't know if boring is the right word, but it's retreading a lot, and that's kind of to be expected from a slasher franchise. But in evaluating this movie, it is still a ding. You can't say, oh, that's just how it is with slashers, with everything. Like, at a certain point, you had the opportunity to do something more with it, and you didn't. And so, and creativity with the kills. I think that, like, Damien Leone, as like this franchise in general, I've grinded my axe on the use of guns and things a lot of times already, like these sort of like uncreative kills, but they also get bolstered with like things like the liquid nitrogen and the rat thing, which, like it or hate it or whatever, like it's something I've never seen before as a kill. Those are 2 kills I've never seen before from a slasher film, and I'm like, I appreciate that. So it's like kind of middling on those things too, because it kind of counterbalances some of the less creative kills where he's like just whipping out a gun and just letting one loose on a guy, or like putting in a package bomb, which only to me played at all because it was a Christmas gift and a kid, and like, I don't know, that to me was like, at least it was thematically carried. And speaking of the theme, I think that they could have like aesthetically, it looks great. It really hits that tone that I want to see from a Christmas horror, from a Christmas movie in general. Honestly, it looks like a great Christmas movie, and that's perfect. But like as far as like thematic kills or whatever, I agree with Justin that they could have just gone all the way and made every single one of them Christmas related, and I would have been a little bit happier. I could have leaned more on that for benefit. David Howard Thornton is great as Art the Clown, but I'm a little like tired of it. I think like I don't know, like like if Freddy Krueger turned into a bit of a forgettable like SNL character joke after a while, I think that's where Art the Clown is headed. He's more a punchline for I don't know, for some fucking late night bit than he is a fearsome slasher killer anymore, and that I just feel like that's where art's headed. Like even and that's like one of the best loved slashers of all time. I'm talking about with Freddy Krueger. So like these beloved people, beloved slashers, they fall down this trap a lot, and I think it's happening at an accelerated rate for art personally. Yeah, so like all the good gets like really, really drowned out by like the lore, the length, all that stuff. The acting, as in Bob's words, is fairly dodgy at times. Like, and as much as I appreciate them trying to make a through line, it just doesn't really prop things up properly. It doesn't feel real enough. It feels like a comic book movie has been stuffed inside of this Christmas horror movie. And like Rob also said, it's a turducken. It's too much, trying to do too many things at one time to course correct other things that it did and they wanted to improve on. I appreciate wanting to improve on your past efforts, but I don't think what they're doing now is working much better ultimately. So I've been consistently not hot on this franchise. I gave the first one, I think, a 1.5 or something, maybe a 2, and I gave the second one a 2.5. And I think I'm more likely to go back and visit this one because the Christmas aspect works for me and because it looks better. So I think I can't justify going lower than 2.5 that I gave the other one. But man, it really tries to get me to go lower. This movie, like it really wants me to go lower, and I'm giving it the grace that the gimmick offers it. So that's it for me.
What was the
2.5?
It is a 2.5.
2.5. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, 2.5. I'm just going to stick with a 2.5. We'll call both those movies a draw. This Terrifier 2 and 3. Because like Terrifier 2 at least still felt a little more fresh, and this one feels a little more gimmicky and using a gimmick that I enjoy. So it kind of balances them out, I guess.
All right. With Randy's 2.5, that's going to put our aggregate at a 2.25. Let's go ahead and jump into our
Mr. Falcon.
Mr. Falcon. Dude, that's a fucking great bump too. Good job. Let's jump into a Rotten Tomato segment, see what the critics and users have to say.
Certified.
Okay, ladies and
Mr.
gents.
Falcon. That's great.
All right, Mr. Falcons, here we go. This is the Rotten Tomatoes segment in which I'm going to have these two Mr. Falcons guess within the best of their Falcon abilities what the aggregate positive score is for Terrifier 3 on RottenTomatoes.com, starting with the critics or the tomatometer, and then moving on to the users or the poopometer or the popcornometer, whatever you prefer to call it.
Clear as mud.
I'm going to start with Juice today, and we have 119 critic reviews for the tomatometer. Justin, out of those 119 reviews, what percentage would you think are positive reviews from the critic?
I should have gone back and listened to our Terrifier 2 because I can't remember. I think that the critics are also praising these movies, but I can't remember now. So I'll stay somewhat positive. I don't know why so many people praise the shit out of these movies, but I'll just take the 69 dudes. Just to be chill.
69 dudes!
Just to be chill about it.
All right.
Clearly.
Please be chill
Damn,
about
why are you
this.
so chill?
They're calming me down,
I've never
these
seen you
69
this chill
dudes.
before.
I'm a relaxed
I
person.
don't know. Before I comment on that,
I'm
Bob,
a calm,
how about you?
reasonable person.
You're right.
I'm very, very
I
reasonable.
never get
Everyone says
heated.
so.
You're right.
I'm probably the most even-keeled person.
Keep telling us about
Everyone
yourself.
says so.
I don't know. I have no idea where this is going to be ranked, honestly. Like, this could be, like, in the 90s. This could be, like, 30. Like, I don't... Because it's, like, a nasty movie. The critics that are rating this, like, if they're writing for horror sites, I'm sure they're probably fans of it. If it's for anything else, they're going to see it as, like, a very trashy movie, which, it is. So 69, dude, I don't know. What to do? I guess I'll take the over. I guess I'll take a 75. I don't know.
75. All right. Well, one of you is just 2 percentage points away from absolute correctness. The correct answer was 77%. Bob's walking away with this one. 77%. That's certified fresh, gentlemen. And I have a theory about this. Like, as guys were talking about it, like I just think that maybe this franchise is filling what has become a gap in the horror style. You know what I mean? Like, once we kind of like, I think it's a course correction after the course correction of like torture porn going away, you know, and then we went into like spooky haunted houses and like almost PG-13 Blumhousey stuff for a long time, or like trauma-based stuff, like
Elevated
soul-baking
horror.
shit. Yeah, yes,
in my
Fucking
opinion,
sure.
When people say, "Oh," like the discussion that you guys had about, it's somebody doing their own idea and they're doing. To me, it would be like, imagine if Human Centipede and Human Centipede 2 instead filled that role. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I wouldn't want it to fill that role because
I get it.
Yeah. So
I wouldn't either. I would be less excited.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
I think this is better than that.
If listeners can stop and listen and imagine, like, I know I'm harsh on this. I know a lot of people like it, but it's kind of like that. It's like, I don't want to just, he's really getting it, because it's got that same feeling of like, I don't want it to be there. I don't think it deserves that spot.
I think it benefits. What I'm saying is I think it's just benefiting from a vacuum that it fills.
But
and I don't think that necessarily speaks to the quality of it.
I just feel like people give it a lot of slack because of that. Whereas, like, if it were it were Human Centipede 2, I don't think you would give it that kind of slack.
Like cut it.
I wouldn't, because if Human Centipede 2 came out in a time where there was no kind of like gory horror movies, I think it would benefit from that. And I would similarly, it's like, I think that's a worse movie, so I would be feeling the way you are about this.
Yeah.
But like Terrifier 3, like the Terrifier franchise is not as bad as that, and it's filling a gap and benefiting from that. And what?
As bad as Human Centipede?
I prefer it. Terrifier.
I definitely prefer the Terrifier.
I guess it depends on what you're saying. I mean, as bad as like what the boundaries it's pushing, or actual quality. I took it as the bound. I took it as what you're saying, the boundaries it was pushing. Oh, okay.
No. I'm talking about like quality wise. I think Terrifier franchise is generally better, a more enjoyable franchise for me.
Gotcha. Okay,
so I'm okay with it succeeding and being like filling that role, and like sort of being like the doorman for maybe a few more gory horror movies to enter the fray and become part of the popular lexicon. And that will inevitably go too far and have to course correct again. That's just kind of the nature of like popular art acts and reacts on itself constantly. So I think that's what's happening. That's my guess. That's my big pulpit stance. Going over to the poopometer, there are 2,500 plus verified ratings on the user score, the poopometer. Bob, why don't you kick us off? You took the last round. Where do you think the users are coming in on this one?
I do think the users are going to be fairly high on this. Definitely a bigger sample size, but folks, generally love this franchise, and it seems like, in particular, Part 3 is getting quite a lot of love. So to go higher than the critics, probably, I think that'd probably be the safer route. So I will take an 82.
82. All right. Soju, where are you coming in? Over, under?
Yeah, I think that logic sticks. And even though I don't agree, I want to win. So...
Wow.
Almost got a spit take from bottom. Almost.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. But yeah, so I'll just take my boys then. 86. I'll just take the special numbers tonight. I'll stick with it.
Sorry, you cut out just in the moment where you gave the score. What was it?
86. The boys.
The boys.
The other boys.
Not the dudes, the boys.
Yeah, we're taking the boys this time.
Clearly everyone
knows.
Yeah.
There's the dudes, the boys, and then there's ass to back of head.
Yes, my favorite sexual.
Those are the comedy numbers. Yes. All right.
We'll
so one of you,
the way.
One of you is just a single percentage point away from the correct guess. You guys are definitely in the right zone. The correct answer is 85%. Soju's going to split the pot here with Bob.
Nice.
Thank God. No sweeping skeet tonight,
Project
Bob.
85.
Oh, yeah. All right. Oh, man, that's so high.
Yeah,
These numbers are so high.
77, and I know, I'm sitting here looking at it, I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Like the users I understand, because like users like this sort like what they like, and if something catches fire, it catches fire, especially edgy shit. But with a fucking critics, like where are the snobs on this fucking review? Like,
they must
give me
just
some
not
snob
be
opinions.
Yeah,
reviewing it,
130 though. I mean, that's a pretty standard sample size that we see.
It is. It's not a small sample size. Like I'm
What
looking
are
at these
people
things and like,
praising these movies for?
I don't know. I'm just I like it when horror does well. So like it doesn't bother me that much.
For sure.
The
But
Strangers, you know,
Dude,
I mean, they should have done better, you know.
that movie, man, is so fucking bad. The Strangers Chapter
really?
1.
Is
the Strangers
it?
Chapter.
Oh.
Don't get me excited, Juice. I'm very.
well, let's find some snobs.
Let's
We're
find
all
some
very
snobs,
calm.
please.
Yeah.
I'm going to find some snobs here in the critic review section, read a couple of negative synopses and see where we net out here. Here's one from the Daily Mail UK. The spillage of blood and guts is horrible throughout, but Terrifier fans will doubtless, if only figuratively, lap it up.
That's a real knee slapper.
I feel
That's
that
fucking dumb as shit.
I don't think
Like,
so.
that's so denigrating.
I kind of feel that, man. Like, the first statement I made about this movie was it feels like it really made me feel like that guy was like, I'm going to take this same song that people have listened to for years, and I'm going to put the word Christmas in it, and they're going to buy it all over again. And that's how I feel about this movie. I feel like
I'm
seen
specifically
it.
talking about.
I know, but I feel like it's just like, yeah, give it to me. Give me more art. Give me, I feel that a little bit, honestly.
I mean, yeah, there's some truth to it, but like that, yeah, the fans are going to like it, but of course they are. Like, I don't like, I don't know, like why that's like such an important thing to point out that, oh, you know, it's got terrible gore, but some people like that is all like that's basically what he's saying, but he's saying it in like a very condescending way. I don't know. Don't go after the fucking fans, man. Let them do their thing. And they lap it up like treating them like fucking
Like
dirt
dogs.
because they like what they like and he doesn't like it.
Dumb
You can
fucking
eat my
dogs
shit.
just lapping this bullshit up. Yeah, like can't go fuck yourself.
I don't think that it's like so callous as what you're describing, Juice, like knowingly callous. I think that Damien Leone is genuinely trying to make something that he would enjoy. I don't think that like this is just him like trying to make a quick buck. This doesn't feel money grabby to me, and I think that that's kind of dismissive as well. But like,
it doesn't feel money grabbing.
the
What it's now starting to feel like, where you're saying, oh, it feels like he's trying to make a movie that he would enjoy. It feels like ego grubbing. It feels like each time he's trying to get that reputation of I've pushed it this far. My movies do it more than anybody does it, and it seems like that's becoming more the sole purpose. So it feels like ego grubbing to me, and I don't think he's pushing it for money, but it's like the reputation of like I do it so crazy, bro.
I think it's just the shit that he likes on it. Like I don't know that he's.
I think so too. Like I don't have the sense that he's doing it through some craven like PR stunt. Like,
he was a visual arts, like he did practical effects. That was his focus, and like so obviously he's gonna put as much of that in his movie as he can. It's just what he does and what he likes.
But it's not about the visual effects though. It's about how crazy I don't know.
Nah, wait, we talked about it.
Okay, let's close this thing out with one more
there's
negative
no practical
review.
effects that go into the fact that somebody's masturbating with a piece of broken glass. That has nothing to do with practical effects.
I mean that.
No, that's an extreme. They do it off camera.
But you know what? So those aspects, those decisions have nothing to do with the fact that he was a visual artist.
That's not a showcase for visual artistry.
Well, that's kind of my point. That
I'm agreeing with you on that.
Right. Read the thing. Right. Read the thing.
Here's the thing. Here's one more. This one's from a website called 48 Hills. I don't know anything about it. It's not that just that the script matters so little. It's that nothing does. plot, character, sense at all are just factors that can be arbitrarily sacrificed to allow for another viscera clogged bloodbath. And here's the thing: is like, I could see that review on just about any slasher sequel you can bring up. Like, that seems like a bog standard critical blurb towards any slasher. You know what I mean? Like, just about.
Yeah, the
I don't know. I think there's some exceptions, but
yeah.
So, like, to that end, like, if that's what you're going for, then, like, I gotta give some credit to that. Like, if what you're going for is to make a slasher franchise that lives and dies by the same rules, but with a little bit different flavor as all your favorites that you grew up on, then, you know, it is what it is. Like, he's not reinventing the wheel. That's the thing, is like, while this movie might open the door for other movies, it's not a unique movie and unique franchise in its own right. It is just existing in a vacuum and opening doors that way, I think. So I don't know. To me, it kind of it's a boon for horror, but it's also, just because it's opening those doors and it's taking off and it's doing those things doesn't necessarily mean that it's like high art, and it never needed to be in order to succeed. Like the same way the Scream reopened the door to slashers, although that is just a better fucking franchise in general and better movie, the first one, because it actually, you know, had something at the core of it from the beginning.
Yeah.
Which was, self-referential. Anyway, we're going to keep reviewing forever and ever on this. It's actually a really interesting franchise to talk about. I've realized.
Yeah, we are going
as much as I don't love it.
A little long. Let's go ahead and get into some trivia.
All right.
It's totally time for trivia.
All right, boys. Yeah, I got a little bit of trivia here. This is a new movie, so, like, you know, the trivia was a little light. But legendary makeup artist John Caglione Jr., most famous for working on The Dark Knight with the Joker makeup, told Damien Leone he was a fan of Terrifier 1 and 2 and offered to work on the film, which he quickly accepted. So I guess he was part of the effects crew on this.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah. When making Terrifier 1 and 2, Damien Leone has stated in interviews that the crew consisted of only 5 to 10 people, depending on the day, with crew members working every possible position. However, for Terrifier 3, he had the budget enough to have like dozens of people on set every day, with actual dedicated crews and departments. So, like, he had like actually making a movie like the normal way, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy. It doesn't seem like it improved it at all. That's what's weird.
I think it probably looks better than than the previous two. So in that way, I think
maybe, but it's marginal in my opinion.
This next bit also is somewhat illuminating. And in another interview, Leone stated it took 6 years to make Terrifier 2, as he and his producer Phil Falcone probably, were doing every job on the production and underestimated how ambitious it would become. However, with Terrifier 3, Leone faced a new challenge of writing and completing production within a single year to meet the release date. The production barely made it on time for its September premiere at Fantastic Fest. And I did listen to an interview with him on a podcast talking about how, like, he was still editing the movie like the night before it was going to premiere.
What?
So, like, it was like down to the wire. So I guess, you know, very, very hurried. So that might explain why maybe the script feels a little loose. The lore feels kind of half baked. Like it was kind of rushed to do
that runtime in half, brother.
Cut it. Definitely could be leaner on the runtime. Yeah. Also, speaking of that,
yes.
My next point: distributor Cineverse had only one request, and that was to make the film under 2 hours long. Leone, who served as his own editor, again recalled ripping out pages while filming to make the movie shorter, realizing it would be way the fuck too long and not have enough time to film the scenes. The ending was much longer and was cut down despite trying his best to meet the request. Damien Leone submitted his final edit, which again is 2 hours and 5 minutes long. There you go.
Whoa.
All right. Well,
there's not one thing that could have been cut from that film. It's all so important.
It's all essential. It's essential that we see him wash a plate.
Yes.
I like that. Outgrossed Terrifier 2.
I kind of did too, I'll be honest.
This movie outgrossed Terrifier 2 within its first weekend of release $2 million budget, grossed $89 million, making it the highest gross unrated film of all time. And like I said, it's getting a re-release, so it's going to make even more money in the theaters here. So we'll see what it hits on Christmas week.
Oh my God.
This is the second film unrated by the MPAA to open at number one at the domestic box office in the 21st century. The other one was, I guess I've never heard of this movie. It's called Renaissance, a film by Beyonce. It came out in 2023. Never heard of it.
Oh, is that a concert film? Probably.
Maybe
Gotta
it is.
be, yeah.
Maybe it is. I don't know. Yeah, that is.
Yeah, it's an album too. So that
must.
We are very not knowledgeable outside of the horror.
Whoops. That's I think everything else I mentioned during our conversation. So that's going to do it for the trivia on Terrifier 3. That takes us right into our Cooter of the week.
Straight chillin'.
Cooter of the week!
Juice, what is a Cooter and why do we hunt them?
Oh, Cooter's a character type and a straight chillin' exclusive.
I thought you were going to do that musical style.
Cooter is a character type and a straight chillin' exclusive. Character has to hit 3 of these 5 points to be considered a Cooter, but we want the Cooter with the most points. The 5 points of Cooterdom are sexual deviancy, manipulation, smug arrogance, overall looking attire, and overall patheticness. Boys, how many times are we going to play this game?
Right. How many Cooters are in this fucking movie?
Oh, my lord.
At least 2, probably. I mean,
let's go through the old song and dance.
I think we already
Art the Clown.
decided Art was
he
a
just
Cooter.
probably hits all 5.
Yeah. I mean,
Art's the same old Cooter he ever was. He was Cooter of the week. Those for the first 2 movies. I'm pretty sure.
Let's do Victoria. Right.
Looking attire.
She's hot.
Sexual deviancy. The masturbating. The masturbating is going to put her over on that.
Is what Randy is saying. Every time you masturbate, you
God
kill an
didn't
angel.
give you hands for baiting. He gave them to you for raising sheds and such.
Raising sheds.
Not barns, but sheds. You build a fucking shed.
Oh,
barns!
my Lord.
Barns are for the devil. We know this.
Patheticness.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand what her character's deal is because at one they just kind of turned her on a dime.
Yeah. Oh, really?
She went from being like a hero to a insane person in an insane asylum to being a straight up demon person, and none of that felt earned to me. It just kind of were things we were told were true.
Got another John Kramer on our hands, he just turns them that quick,
Yeah,
Most people don't appreciate their cock-a-doodle lives, but not you, Mr. Man.
Not anymore.
Yeah. Oh man.
I don't know. Yeah, this is kind of hard.
Can we just
I thought I had one more idea for a regular person that might be a Cooter in this film that we can discuss, and it was the
podcast.
The girl?
podcast.
The
podcast girl.
The podcast. Just call her podcast.
The podcast. So manipulation. I would say, yeah. It seems like she's sleeping with that roommate just to
get to Jonathan. Yeah, I agree.
Which is also sexual deviancy, right?
I guess.
Well, she's.
I mean, they're fucking.
It seems pretty self-possessed, honestly.
Yeah, that seems all right. They seem down with it.
Using your sexual wiles to get what you want is a time-honored tradition. So.
Oh, don't I know it?
Ain't it the truth?
I know you.
It's how we got here, boys.
It's how we got all the success that we have, boys. Let me go and all the sacrifices
Check out
I
the
made.
Straight chilling OnlyFans.
And the
Do you know what these filthy hands have done?
Done a lot of things for you,
and to
boys.
what holes?
God damn.
But I liked most of it.
Yes, that's what a boy likes.
98%.
The other 2% we don't talk about.
That's for therapy.
It's a special tier on Patreon if you want to hear about that other
the therapy tier?
The 2% tier.
The 2%.
Damn.
So
Yeah,
patheticness, her whole like, I want to look into his eyes, and then she gets to look into his eyes. I mean,
she does.
Well, I think it's pretty pathetic to put so much effort into a podcast. I mean, Jesus Christ,
Agreed.
Get a life.
Yeah. I mean, manipulation.
I'm now announcing my retirement.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take some time off.
Manipulation and smug arrogance for sure. I don't know that sexual deviance or patheticness. Maybe a dash of pathetic. I don't know. She might be a Cooter light.
Cooter light.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
smug
Cooter
arrogance
and
because
waiting.
like the way she phrased when she was talking about Sienna, and she's like, I mean, I was kind of helping her because
Yeah, that's true. That's a good
fuck
point.
that bitch.
It's like equivocating horse shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
So I think she hits
Hateable.
pretty close. Or yeah. She's kind of the character you like to see die, though. You know.
oh yeah, she's definitely
Maybe
which
not
is
as
like
brutally as she
that's
gets,
a ghost point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As she gets taken out, but I mean, I think she's swimming in that realm.
She's about the only character that you're like.
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what though, man. It kind of creeped me out when they cut to them like doing it in the show. And I know we didn't see like any explicit, like it was explicit, but they didn't show like nipple or whatever.
Whoa.
But like even what we saw was like, oh my god, because I assumed just facially that girl was like 16 years old. She does not look like an adult. to
They're
me.
in college.
Yeah, they're in college.
I know that the characters are in college. I mean, the actress does not look like an adult to me.
Oh, really?
So I was like, yeah, she looked like a mid-teenager to me. And then I was like, oh
Damn.
my God, am I on a list? What's happening?
Didn't stick out. To
Yeah,
me.
I didn't. I mean, she looks.
Yeah, okay, it was me. I was like, this
20
looks like a
years
child to me. Okay, yeah, no, I didn't get that. Maybe I'm just an old man now.
Word.
Yeah, that's very, very possible, although
think
you can't
so.
confirm that.
Shouldn't you be at home practicing your long division, child? What are you doing fucking in the shower?
Long division at 16.
Focus on your studies.
That's a dumb child.
The job market sucks.
Okay, I think we got
Your long
the
division.
Cooter of the week. I think we got
Let's
him.
put Art away, man.
we
Like
got him.
I think it's a permanent Cooter
Forever.
situation.
Perma Cooter, Art the Clown. Yeah, we got him. All right,
Unless
boys.
we find out some tragic backstory that it changes everything.
Oh my god!
Now he's the hero.
Yep.
He's feeding the poor.
He's feeding them entrails, but he's feeding them.
Laugh my fucking ass off if they did a turn in like Terrifier 5 where he's like, no, he was
Terrifier X.
Art was wronged. Let's talk about what we've been watching this week, boys.
Hey gang, what you been watching?
Randeezy, what you been watching?
So I've been wanting to catch up on a lot of movies that I didn't get to see yet from this year, but Christmas movies have been taking over. So the one movie I did get to sort of catch up on was Smile 2, which I think was an improvement on Smile 1. I rewatched Smile, the original, and I liked it better the second time, and I like Smile 2 just a little bit better than that. Still not like my favorite thing in the world or whatever, but I was pleasantly surprised. I think it improved. And I don't know, I liked the lead character and shit, and I still like the creature effects. I've come around to the first one, and I liked it in the second one as well. So there's that. And then everything else is going to be Christmas adjacent. Home Alone, rewatch that. Classic. Home Alone 2, classic. Minus the one guest star who can eat my shit. Then we have Christmas Evil, rewatched that. Watched Arnold's Christmas, the Hey Arnold Christmas episode, which is genuinely a tearjerker of a children's show.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I watched Rocco's Modern Christmas, which is a Rocco's Modern Life Christmas special, which is just endearing and nostalgic for me. Doesn't hold up quite as well as Hey Arnold. And then the last thing I'll bring up, besides a few games, Balatro, Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, still in the mix, very slowly working through that second one. The Happiest Season is the last film I'll mention, which is it was sold to me as like a rom-com in the vein of a Hallmark movie, and then we put it on, it's like Kristen Stewart, Dan Levy, and Allison Brie and shit. And I'm like, oh my god, this is like
Nice.
a stacked cast. And but it like story-wise kind of was that, but it's sort of like a queer-focused one where Kristen Stewart goes home with her girlfriend for the holidays, but turns out her girlfriend never told her family that she was gay, much less that they were dating. And madcap stuff ensues. It's all right. It's all right for what it is. It's not generally my style of film, but it had its moments. Dan Levy is very, very fun to watch in that. I'll like, and he's not in enough of it, in my opinion. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just kind of cut it there, though. There's aside from a few clips and like Max Fleischer cartoons in the background and stuff. That was about it.
Solid lineup, dog. Juice, what you been watching?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, some Christmas things like Randy, some Simpsons Christmas episodes, Elf, just It's a Wonderful Life, just some classic Christmas stuff. Watched the Great British Bake Off newest Christmas season because that's like a thing when I come to my parents now. I just watched the Great British Bake Off and
the Great Bitch Bake Off.
The Great Bitch Bake Off.
The Great Bitch Bake Off.
Also, too,
their favorite bitches from reality TV compete.
Damn, I would watch that. I also, when I come to stay at my parents' house during the Christmas season, I always watch that like Get Blown show about the glass, where they do the glass on Netflix. They had a new season of that, so I watched that. Watched just a lot of like competitive shows at my parents for some reason, and also too, I've been watching on Netflix Culinary Wars, which is a Korean competitive cooking show, which is quite entertaining. And
it's called Competitive Wars?
No, Culinary Class Wars.
Culinary Class Wars. Okay, I misheard you. I was like, Competitive Wars seems weirdly redundant and not related to food at all.
No. And then also, too, I started it at the beginning of the year and then got so busy that just pretty much abandoned it all. But I'm trying to maybe finish all the Studio Ghibli films by the end of this year. So I also started watching The Boy and the Heron, which came out just last year, but it's on Max now. Mm-hmm. And after that, I've got like 2 more. So I think I can do it. I got a few weeks. So maybe I will finish that journey here in 2024. But that's all I've been watching, I think. Bob?
Oh, hey.
What you been watching?
Some Christmas shit, tis the season, but like kind of some, I guess I should say maybe just like winter shit, really. We rewatched The Thing. It is still good, in case you were wondering.
What?
Hold on.
The Thing?
The Thing?
The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing.
The Thing.
Fucking great. We also put on Catch Me If You Can, which is a Christmas movie. There's like every year, like, because, it takes place across like, I don't know, a decade or like a very long time, and every like year that goes by they like really hit on Christmas. So it is like, maybe not about Christmas, but there's a lot of like major moments that take place on Christmas.
It's not as Christmassy as, say, Prometheus, you're saying.
Right, not quite as Christmassy as that. But that movie is a fucking classic. I love that movie so much. Definitely check out Catch Me If You Can if you've never seen it. Also, I put on Carnage for Christmas, which just hit Shudder, and to be fair, I have not finished it yet. I believe it's Australian. Not loving it. It is really rough around the edges. It's about
Christmas dies tonight.
There you go. That's fucking. It's a skipper for me, dog. I wouldn't recommend it. There's a killer Santa Claus. Killer Santa Claus. It's okay. Skipper. Joe Bob was the
skipper
this past Friday, and he did a double feature. He showed Rare Exports, was the first film, which I was able to stay up for and was a good time. Pretty solid movie, worth checking out. The second feature was It's a Silent Knife, and or It's a Wonderful Knife.
It's a Wonderful Knife?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the time bendy one, right?
The one from last year.
Yeah, last year or the year before?
With Justin Long?
With Justin Long, yeah. Where he's like the fucked up mayor or whatever.
And the teeth.
Yeah, didn't stay awake.
Right.
Didn't stay awake for that one. Didn't rewatch that one. Don't like that movie very much, honestly.
Yeah.
I'll probably go back and just watch the Joe Bob parts. I did, like, he was like introducing the movie, and I did watch that portion, And it's, he does like a 4 out of 4-star rating whenever he rates movies. And he gave it a 2 out of 4, which is like very rare for the Joe Bob.
I've seen him give reviews, but yeah.
2 out of 4 is rare?
Yeah, it's rare.
For him it is.
That he goes that low. Yeah.
Oh, that low.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'll bet he still told you to check it out, didn't he?
He always does, Joe Bob says check it out. Always does.
That's what he says.
So yeah, that's about what I've been watching. Mostly Christmas shit. 'Tis the season.
Tis the season.
We do have 2 voicemails, so let's go ahead and get into our Hotline Screams.
Hotline Scream.
If you guys are listening, would like to call and leave a voicemail to be featured on next week's show, hit us up at 904-638-3231. First up, we're hearing from Pappy. Let's hear what he's got to say.
Hey, Straight Sean, this is your boy Pappy. Haven't called in a while, but I wanted to give best worst horror I saw in 2024. Let's go with best. Number 3, Afraid, the Blumhouse AI horror movie. It is so bad and so stupid that it's good. I was laughing at it the whole time. This is the horror version of The Room. We actually need midnight screenings for this one, where you call it, Are You Afraid of How Fucking Terrible This Movie Is? Number 2, Alien Romulus. Whether you think it's a good entry in the Alien universe is debatable, but it's a solid sci-fi horror film. And number 1, best movie of the year, horror, easily The Substance. It's an amazing film, the love child of David Cronenberg, Gaspar Noé, and Darren Aronofsky. Worst. Number 3 is a tie between Terrifier 3 and Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2. Good practical effects do not make for a good movie. Both of these teams should be doing practical effects for good horror filmmakers. Imagine having a Mike Flanagan movie with Damien Leone practical effects. That's what we need, not this drivel. Number 2, Imaginary. This is bottom of the barrel Blumhouse PG-13 horror, not scary and lame. It's so bad that it's bad. Number 1, the worst horror movie I saw in 2024, The Strangers Chapter 1. Complete waste of time reboot of The Strangers. Direction, script, and acting all suck. It is atrocious that we are supposedly getting 2 more of these movies. So there you go. Gave you my 3 best horror, 3 worst horror. Keep up the good work, straight chillin'. Pappy out.
God damn, Pappy brought the heat. Is he my inner monologue?
Damn.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I agree with most of that, yeah.
Yeah.
I have not seen the AI Afraid movie or Imaginary.
I have heard.
I haven't either. When he said when he said Imaginary, he said Blumhouse. The other one popped into my mind. What's the good one?
Yeah, there were Imagine
the good one.
Not the movie, the studio.
Oh, A24.
A24 popped into my mind.
Okay.
Yeah, and I had to crack myself.
That. Afraid is like become kind of notorious. It's I don't know if it's quite reaching Morbin time levels, but people are really slamming on that one hard. I
don't want to watch it now. I think it's on Netflix.
R.I.P. Sony Spider-Man universe.
Oh my God! Just when it was getting good, right? Everyone.
Just at its peak, they pull the plug.
Oh man, it's just a shame. But yeah, good stuff.
Hate to see it.
Dude, Mike Flanagan film with Damien, that's a really good call. I don't know if that blends all that well, but like Damien Leone working for other filmmakers is a fabulous call. I would love to see some of that happen.
Yeah. Romulus, it's all right. Substance, pretty good. The Strangers fucking chapter 1 is egregious.
Oh my
I
God.
think
Strangers fucking chapter 1.
That's a fair call right there. Holy shit.
Call.
Terrifier 3 being one of the worst films of the year. I don't know that I'd go that low, but opinions.
I'll have to check my list.
We'll see.
We're making our list.
We'll see when we get
twice.
there.
Yeah. We'll be doing our wrap up best of the year like mid January, a little bit later than normal. I don't think we've said that yet on the show.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's to make sure that we can get Nosferatu in before we do
right.
it.
I did know that.
So yeah, just a little bit later than we normally do. Thanks for calling, Pappy. Yeah, bring in the thoughts and yeah, solid list, man. Definitely
Bring
good
us
to
more
hear from you.
thoughts.
Bring all of your thoughts to Straight Chilling.
I want your thoughts.
We want them. Call in and give us your thoughts. Next up, we're going to hear from JT. Let's hear what he's got to say.
What up, gentlemen? It's your boy JT. I'm a little behind on this, but I wanted to weigh in on my actor that I want to absolutely just punch in the face every time I see him, and I really want to see if anybody else shares this sentiment. Fucking Finn Wolfhard, dude. I don't know what it is. Ever since he showed up in Stranger Things, every time I see him, and no matter what he's in, I just there's something about his face, and I hope I'm not alone in this. But yeah, that's it. I just wanted to throw my thoughts in on that. Y'all keep chilling and have a great week.
I could totally
Finn
see
Wolfhard.
that.
Yeah, I don't really feel that way, but I get it.
Yeah, I don't.
I'll be
but
honest.
yeah, I
Like
get
his
it.
name floated in my skull when this question was asked. The thing about it though is like, I think it's just like mostly an optical thing. Like I just think he has a punchable face in the sense that like he looks like he looks like that. You know what I mean?
Smarmy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, he looks kind of smug or whatever, and like I don't want to necessarily sign up to punch a kid in the face for looking smug.
Well, he's like
an adult
20
now.
Yeah, he's
So
not.
he's
I
fair
like
game.
what I know. What I'm saying though, like what I'm
Get
trying to
him.
get to is that like I know a little bit
Beat
about
his ass.
about him. Like he's
That's what you get for
I
growing
like his-
up.
You get your ass beat
Just
by
what the real world is,
30
little
grown
shit.
men.
That's what you
Yeah,
get for
with a
being born with that
podcast.
phase.
You fucking loser.
No, I don't know. Like I just like I know enough about him. Like he's like I like his style like of music. I like that he's a musician. He seems like a pretty authentic dude outside of just being in too many things and kind of hitting a smarmy button in my skull. So I don't know.
Yeah, he
Like,
plays
I
like
get it.
smarmy He might not be smarmy, but he plays some smarmy ass characters for sure.
Yep.
I generally like don't mind him and stuff. He just happens to be in shit that like I don't necessarily want to watch.
That's part
in
of it,
general.
too, yeah.
It's not really like because of him though, you know. Yeah,
But
I
he's
see
in
it.
he's in so many pup music videos. I can't hate the man.
That is pretty. Yeah, that's a feather in his cap. That's pretty cool. Maybe I just love him now.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Oh,
The afterglow of Pup is very strong.
It is.
Look up Pup the band, everyone.
Yeah.
You won't be disappointed.
You won't want to punch
I
them
think
in their
it's
face.
pronounced Poop, the band.
It's got the umlaut over
Yeah,
the poop. The band.
Poop the band is
We
a
should start
very
that
different
band.
band.
Let's do it, Bob.
We're gonna
the band.
Bob's
we got to
so
resurrect
excited now.
Gigi Allen, and we can get going.
The zombie of Gigi Allen is the
Oh,
front.
Lord.
It's the super group of the zombie of Gigi Allen, fucking the guy lead singer from Guar, and the Emotron.
Damn, what a group.
The fucking
And then me and
Emotron.
Bob.
Google the
And Bob.
Emotron if you want to see some weird shit.
And then
Yes.
Michael Bublé.
Michael Bublé.
Kind of balance it out.
Yeah,
The
thanks for
Bublé kid.
thanks for calling JT about some punchable ass faces. Again, if you guys want to call in, leave a voicemail for next week, hit us up at 904-638-3231. I'd like to hear about some more, best of, worst of the year lists. If you guys got them, call in, let us know. Do you guys have any other prompts you want to throw out there for next week?
You could come sit on old Santa Stain's lap and tell me what you want for Christmas this year.
Piss on
Leave
his
some
lap.
stains on my lap.
Jesus.
Or you could also tell a funny story of like maybe one of the worst presents you ever got.
That'd be good, yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Funny Christmas
wh-
story. Yeah.
Yeah. Any funny Christmas. Yeah. If you got an uncomfortable gift, tell us that story too.
Yeah, like
Like
a giant dilder.
Did you open a butt plug in front of your parents or something like
Oh my God. How did you
I love
know?
this paperweight.
Oh, this is the doorstop I've been wanting.
This is the wine stopper I've been like.
It's fucking huge.
I get the extra large bottles of wine.
I buy them from Kirkland Signature.
I
You
get
know,
the
you know how it goes.
2-liter
Costco
bottles
wine,
of
you
wine.
know.
The Costco wine, It
It's
doesn't come
$8
small.
for a gallon of wine. I mean, what? What a deal! Practically giving it away.
fucking water cooler sized bottle of wine.
I swear it's not for my ass. Stop looking at me. God.
Damn.
Although it's flattering, you think it could fit.
Yeah, hit us up, 904-638-3231. We'll be back next week with a brand new show, as always, talking about another new release. We're finally going to be chatting over The Substance.
Ooh, yeah.
Potentially the best movie of the year, according to your boy, Pappy.
Happy's favorite movie of the year. The librarian's only movie that she saw all year.
I know. Librarian has watched it 69 times in theaters. Check out The Substance. It is streaming everywhere. I don't think it's in theaters at this point anymore. It's getting a physical release in January, so it's not on disc yet. But you can
the
stream
Blu-ray
it.
case is not goopy, then I don't want it. It's got to be dripping
Just
with
soaking
viscera.
wet. Yeah. Just
Yep. That's what I
raunchy.
want.
Check out The Substance. Get ready for next week's show. Hit us up on all the social medias. Just search Straight Chilling. We'll pop right up. If you want to join our daily Slack channel conversations, hit us up on social media. Let us know, and I'll send you a link so you can join in on the fun. We're talking about the movie of the week. We talk about TV shows, video games, what we're doing for the holidays. Trade pictures of our cute pets. It's very fun and wholesome, and it's a great group of folks. So join. That's going to do it for us here at Straight Chilling. Until next week, as always, all you mother truckers, please keep chilling.
Get out of here, you nosy little pervert, or I'm gonna slap you silly!